This story is told in the perspective of a female, and the events in this story started occurring November 1st, 2015. I'm a country person. I come from a small town and moved up to a large capital city in Australia to attend university at the start of the year. Being a broke-ass student that isn't getting parental support, I'm renting through my university in what is known as subsidized accommodation. Long story short, it's old units from random housing trust blocks that the local housing trust has given to the university. This means I'm living with some creepy people. The guy downstairs, I know for a fact, is an ex-con because he told me. And the guy across the halls from me is dealing in some serious drug shit and has police and detectives knocking on his doors at all hours. I've been at this unit for about 9 months, and other than being slightly scared of some of my neighbors, I've not had any problems. Until now. Another guy who lives across the hall from me, it's a second-story unit block with 3 units in the top, one for me, one for the druggie, and one for this other guy. This other guy, who I learnt is called Josh, is a large ethnic man, as in English isn't his first language, who I'd say is in his mid to late 20s. I've ran into him a few times while leaving and entering my unit, and he introduced himself. So I, being the friendly and naive country kid I am, greeted him back. Other than a few short greetings I've had with this man, the only major time I've had contact with him was when we were both at a bus stop and he started talking to me. He asked what I was doing, and I said I was heading into the city to attend church. While not religious myself, I have a religious friend who had been begging me to attend church with her once. He said he wanted to come with me one day. I thought he was joking, so I just laughed and said, maybe one day. This was about 2 months ago now. I saw him a couple days ago and he asked me when I was going to take him to church. Feeling awkward, I once again said, I don't know, maybe one day, and bolted into my unit. I have been out all weekend dog-sitting for a university friend and came home to find 2 notes pushed under my door. I'll show them on screen right now. Good luck reading half of it because I had trouble as well. I don't know what to do, I'm fucking terrified right now. I called my friend, half laughing hysterically and half freaking out. I made her stay on the phone while I bolted down to my car, took out my small knife, and ran back inside. I can't call my mother because she would freak out and drop everything to make the 5-hour drive to where I live, and she can't do that right now. She's working 5 days a week and looking after my terminally ill grandfather, and any other adults that I call will contact my mother right away. My friend urged me to go to the police, but while the letters are creepy as all hell, they aren't actually threatening. What would the police even do? So yeah, I'll keep updating and you all can join me on this terrifying adventure on how to deal with a creeper. Update, November 2nd, 2015, 2 p.m. So I've talked to the police last night who said, quote, just tell him to stop next time you see him. If he doesn't, come back. I went to my university accommodation team who said they could move me out immediately, and I refused because I only have 4 weeks until I'm meant to move out anyway. I don't want to move out for 4 weeks and then move again. It just seems like a huge pain in the ass. I've booked a meeting for Wednesday morning with an accommodation officer to file an official report. Update, November 4th, 2015, 5 p.m. I've talked to my accommodation officers and student welfare officers. I've also had to apply for supplementary exams if I fail the ones coming up, the 9th, 13th, and 19th. I applied for some rental properties yesterday, so I guess I just have to wait and see what happens with that. I should know by Friday. If not much is happening by then, I'm probably going to be moving out and living with a friend and her parents until I find a rental. As for the creepy guy, I've avoided him like the plague, but now that I'm actually keeping an eye on things, it is becoming pretty apparent that he is involved in some drug stuff with our other neighbor. And he has a lot of friends coming and going at all sorts of odd hours the last few days. He also likes to peek out of his door once I enter my unit if he is home. I know because I watch him through my peephole. My nerves are pretty shot, but I'm just going to buckle down and bear it for the next few days. Update, November 29th, 2015, 7 p.m. So it's been a while since I updated. I moved out of that place a few days ago, and I'm back home living with my mother while searching for other rental places. She still doesn't know about the drama, none of my family does. Things did get a little worse before I left, but not to the point I was chased out. I got it stuck in my stubborn head that I wasn't going through the drama of moving out until the middle of exams. A day after my previous update, the 4th, Josh had a large Caucasian man with tattoos up the side of his face exit his apartment and start hammering on my door. I nearly shit myself, I'm not gonna lie. I crept up to the peephole, not making a sound to see if he'd go away. He did eventually, and wandered downstairs to bang on some other doors. I know one person who answered the door for him, and I'm not sure what was being said. All I heard was the tattoo guy apologizing about something after a brief discussion, and then wandering upstairs to try my door again. Needless to say, I still did not answer, even though I was standing on the other side of the door, hiding from the view of the peephole. He eventually went back into Josh's apartment. I still don't know what he wanted, but it got worse a few hours later. All my nerves were shot by this point, and I was listening closely to what was going on at my neighbor's unit. At one stage, later that night, Josh, another friend, and the tattoo guy walked out of his unit. I heard them talking and overheard that Josh was going to walk his friend outside to say goodbye, and that the tattoo guy was going to stay inside. And inside, for him, meant sitting on the top of the stairs right outside my door. By this time, I'd crept up to the door, feeling like the stalker now, and noticed that the man was talking to himself. I pulled out my phone, that had very little memory left on it because I carry all my music on my phone, and recorded some of his talk. Here's the video. From what I can make out, he says something about fucking Saturday, man. Yeah, fucking idiot. That's how you do this shit, cunt. Keep in mind, he was completely by himself. There was no one else around. I wish I'd had enough video to record what he continued to say to himself. He started talking about stabbing someone. He was muttering about how he was going to do it and whatnot, in the same manner that he was talking with in the video. I was pretty scared, and eventually Josh came back and they went into his unit. I ended up curled up on the couch, clutching my knife and trying not to make a noise for the next few hours so they had no idea I was home. I talked to a friend a few days later who said I should have called the cops, which, thinking about it now, I guess I should have. But I wasn't really thinking that at the time. I did run into the creepy guy twice before I left though. Once was coming down the stairs, I got near the front door and he was standing right there, and all he said was hello. But I still nearly pissed my pants and spun around without a word and walked out the back door and jumped straight into my car, locking the doors. By the time I pulled around the front with my car, he was nowhere in sight. The other time was when I was talking to an old man that lives in the unit block behind me, and I saw him walking down the street in our direction. I quickly excused myself and bolted up the stairs and into my unit. But anyway, I'm home now and safe. I hope I never have to go back to that damn unit block. I hope you learned something from that story. It seems a lot scarier in person than it does listening to it. So, this literally just happened about 6 hours ago. I watch a lot of creepy stories on YouTube and have heard of Reddit through there. This is one of those instances in life that really make you wonder how fucked up people really are, and that true monsters look like humans. I hope this story gets read and can help save a life someday. I want to start out by saying thank you to all the true horror story narrators on YouTube. If not for enjoying your creepy videos, I'm not sure I would have been as observant as I was. Anyways, here's my situation. Backstory: my wife and I don't live together. She had become abusive over the last few months. It was mostly directed towards our daughter. Our daughter is almost 18 months old and is my whole world. I am unemployed at the moment, but my mother had been helping me out a lot. Today, at around 4 p.m., I took my daughter to the store. I usually do this around the time she wakes up from her nap. My daughter is a very active child and can't seem to sit still for more than 10 minutes without getting cranky. I usually let her walk with me, holding her hand and patiently walking at her pace. I usually just get a juice for her, but I had to get some extra groceries that I was short on: flour, sugar, and some noodles. I also remembered we were low on milk and grabbed a gallon on our way back. With all that I was carrying, I wasn't able to hold her hand. I made sure to walk behind her, but that only makes her walk slowly. As we made our way to the registers, I was continuously urging her to keep walking, which she would do, but only for a second before her attention would be drawn to another rickety box with whatever was on sale, or she would see something colorful on a lower shelf. I must admit, I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I wasn't showing it in my voice. I kept urging her to keep walking and she kept getting sidetracked. With everything that I was carrying, I started to wish that I had grabbed a basket. At the front of their store, their customer service desk holds Register 1, which was thankfully open. I want to take the time to mention that my daughter is very fond of saying hi and waving at everyone. I set everything down to get rung up, but the service attendant was busy with a return at the customer service area, so I had to wait. The entrance to the store is to my right. The only exit door is behind the service desk, which leads into the small foyer before leading to the other doors. As people enter, they have to pass the customer service desk. I was being fatherly to my daughter, trying to entertain her with patty cake and the itsy bitsy spider while we waited for the cashier to check us out. My daughter would frequently wave at people passing by and say hi in her squeaky toddler voice. Some people would smile and wave back at her, while others would stop to adore her. At this point, I'm used to people doing that. It makes me happy knowing my daughter isn't a shy, cranky little asshole like some of the kids you see in stores like this. The lady was ready to check us out, and I told my daughter to hold my hand since I wouldn't be looking her way. I had to put my wallet out to retrieve my debit card to pay for the groceries and let her hand go for a moment. I kept looking her way to make sure she wasn't wandering off. The lady went to hand me my receipt when all of a sudden she yelled at someone behind me. "What are you doing with his daughter?" she bellowed as I turned to look at a man who had picked her up and started running towards the entrance doors. I was shocked. The doors didn't open since they were a one-way set of doors, and the cashier quickly picked up the phone yelling that she was calling the police. I was stunned to the point of immobilization, but quickly realized what was going on. I have a pocket knife that I usually carry on me so I could break the seal on my daughter's juice. I quickly ran after the man as someone started to make their way through the entrance doors. He didn't get a chance to run through before I slammed my fist across his temple. I decided not to use the knife in case I might get in trouble. The man stumbled and I grabbed my daughter. He then proceeded to run out the door empty-handed. The police arrived about 5 minutes later and asked me what I had seen. I explained that I hadn't seen the man's face since he had shaggy long hair and a beard. He was also wearing a hoodie, which wasn't that much of a surprise. They took the statement of several witnesses, including the cashiers, and had already had other officers searching the area. Someone had said the guy had ran behind the building, but the officers didn't find anyone. The police took us home and then asked us more questions like, "Have you seen him before? Do you know anyone who looks like the man?" And then proceeded to ask about my home life. CPS had been over earlier in the day to discuss my wife's mental health plan, and the police had been there earlier as well. The officers asked if we needed any groceries or anything else. I told them no. The officers left, leaving me their cards in case I saw the guy around the area. About 20 minutes later, I got a knock at the door. To my surprise, the officers had returned with the largest box of Pampers diapers I had ever seen, a large box of wipes, about 6 large Winco bags of groceries, and a couple bags of toys. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried after they left us. I had spent almost 5 minutes choking back tears as I thanked them. They left us with a Christmas card saying I was a strong father to have had so much go on recently and that my daughter was lucky to have such a great father. There was $100 in the card too, wrapped in a note that said to go get a drink or two if I needed it. I don't drink, so I will probably go get some extra Christmas presents for my mom and daughter. So, to the fucker that tried to kidnap my daughter, I hope the police find you. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. These stories were far from my most terrifying, but they were definitely extremely realistic. I like to have a balance between the murder, killer stuff, and just stuff that can happen to anyone on any day. Also, it's not too often you get videos and pictures with the stories, so I thought you'd appreciate that. I just wanted to give you people that are stuck at family members' houses this Christmas with nothing to do something to watch. Those of you who pay close attention to my videos know that my recording situation is pretty bad and it only gets worse around the holidays because there are so many people around. So that's kinda why my last couple videos have been on the shorter side. When New Year's and all of the other holidays pass, it should pick back up again. Until then, I still want to hear your suggestions on what my next video should be. Even though I can't make long videos right now, I still make lists of stories that you send that I plan on using in the future, so don't hesitate to send those in. Stay safe and happy holidays.